Welcome back to Blue Collar Sports, everyone, for our number 2 of today's show. We are every 2-4 down here at Boise State University in the Pulse Radio studio. It's been a great start to the show, great first hour as we talked a little bit, obviously big-time news in the NBA. We expect more to come with the trade deadline approaching, so we are going to hold off till Tuesday to discuss all that once we know all the details.
Right.
But definitely big-time news in the NBA today. But the Super Bowl is Sunday. This is a all Super Bowl show. Hour number 1, we gave our top 10 players, our storylines, and the road that each team took to get to the point where they are playing Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on CBS. I know you're excited about it, but Romo and Nance.
That's right.
You think that's the best combo they got?
It's one of the best combos for sure. We did our broadcasting power rankings, I know, last year, so that's pretty cool. But Tony Romo's been fantastic all season long, calling games for CBS, and finally he gets to that Super Bowl. He's been needed. He's been deserving of it for a long time now, and he's there as an announcer, and he's having the most fun in the booth I've ever seen anybody. So I'm really glad to see Tony Romo do a Super Bowl, and I think he's just going to go out there and kill it for sure.
Yeah, I know. There's a famous video I saw again today of Tony Romo after the Patriots had beaten the Cowboys in a regular season game, talking to Tom Brady after the game, saying, "I'll see you in the Super Bowl." So I guess in a way he was right. He is at this Super Bowl. But now we're going to talk about specifically the impact of what Sunday means, the legacy behind this game for both sides, both the Rams and the Patriots. What happens if they win? What happens if they lose? That's what we're going to dive into now.
Absolutely. There's going to be huge outcomes either way after this Super Bowl for both teams, the Patriots and the Rams. But let's kick it off with the Patriots first here because I got a lot to say about the Rams. We'll get there. But let's kick it off with the Patriots. We all know they've been here before. This is Tom Brady's 9th Super Bowl. What's going to happen if the Patriots win this Super Bowl?
You know, I want to start it off with a question for you here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a very interesting question. With the Patriots' victory Sunday, it will be Tom Brady's now 6th Super Bowl.
Yep.
With Bill Belichick. Would you consider this the greatest dynasty in sports history?
I have that written down on my notes right here. This is going to be the most dominant sports team in dynasty ever. We got a friend back there. She's trying to get onto the show. You can probably see it right there. But yeah, this is the Patriots are going to be the most dominant team, best dynasty I think ever if they win the Super Bowl for sure. I think they're already up there in this list. But if they win this one, they're just going to capitalize on that, and they're going to be that top team. And a win would mean that I think they are number one.
The greatest sports dynasty.
A loss, I don't think does any harm for them at all. I think they can still be that.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting discussion because obviously you factor in all these different sports and eras. Obviously, the Celtics are up there, the old school Celtics with Bill Russell winning 11 championships in 13 years.
Yeah.
But it was a much different league, less competitive. Super Bowls are very, very hard to get to. Not that NBA championships are easy to get to. But you could look at that Celtics team, Jordan's Bulls team, the Popovich dynasty in San Antonio. You could look at the old Yankees teams with Mickey Mantle and Lou Gehrig. You could even look at the earlier Yankees teams. So there's a lot of dynasties at play here. But I do have to think definitely the number one football dynasty I think we've ever seen. But in terms of sports, I think with a win here, they would solidify for me the greatest sports dynasty team. A couple other notable, like I said, Celtics, Bulls, UCLA men's basketball is up there for their run with John Wooden. But I think this Patriots team would solidify themselves as the number one sports dynasty ever.
And just how long they've been able to do it, and their only solidified people are Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Everybody else has kind of changed throughout the years. So it's just incredible that they've had the two most important people in that system. But then after that, it's been a lot of people that have just gone under the wing and developed into very good players. And I think, for me, it would be the number one dynasty in all of sports.
I think that's the big takeaway there. Another thing I have, if with the New England victory Sunday, I do think Gronk hangs up his cleats. I think he calls it a career. This guy has a lot of fun away from football. He's a great football player, and he's a hard worker. But football, it doesn't necessarily rule his life, that's for sure. He likes to have fun off the field, and I think he wants to enjoy that while he can. Even with the Patriots loss, I think it's 50-50 if he stays or not. But with the Patriots win, he goes out on top. I think Gronk retires.
Yeah, Patriots win for me. Would mean that Rob Gronkowski is going to retire. And honestly, he should. He's had a great career so far. He probably should go into the Hall of Fame, I believe. But just go out there, have fun. We know he's a star. He wants to be in movies. He could go do anything he wants and not get beat up anymore. He's a tight end that a lot of people they don't look at tight ends as stars, as big personalities. So he's been able to change that, which is really cool for football.
Yeah.
But he wants to do more. I know that for sure, and I think he will after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think if with the win here, he's done. Brady stays for sure. He's already said he's not retiring. I do think Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels will stay as well. And I wanted to ask you, who do you think retires first, or do they retire together, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady?
I believe that they will retire together. Who knows when that's going to be?
Right.
If Tom still wants to play to 45, maybe something else happens here because we know Belichick wanted Garoppolo instead of Tom. Don't know if he's still asking himself that anymore. But who knows? I do think they will go out together. And then I wanted to ask you, would a loss change anything for Tom Brady or Bill Belichick's legacy? For me, I think a loss still means they're to go. For me, they're already the best head coach of all time and the best quarterback of all time. Already, even with a loss. If with a win, they just solidified it even more. So would any loss here be an impact for either of them?
It's interesting to hear the best coach of all time. So you don't really hear that argument very much in football. I think Bill Belichick's obviously at the top of it, but you don't really hear that a lot. In terms of a loss, no, I don't think so because of the way they got here. I think if this was a season where they were dominant all year, they spent a bunch of money in the offseason like the Rams did, they had a talented roster, and then they go out and lose in the Super Bowl, that's different. But since they don't have the best roster in sports, Tom Brady's, 41 years old?
Yeah.
41 years old. So no one expected them to be there this time. I know the Patriots still always have a lot of pressure on them to dominate because of their dynasty and how good they have been. But I think, especially for me this year, if the Patriots didn't make the Super Bowl, I wouldn't even put any hate on them for it. I didn't expect them to get here. The fact that they're here regardless of their age and their lack of talent is incredible.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily think a loss in the Super Bowl impacts their legacy.
Yeah, I don't believe so either.
I think they've already solidified that.
Absolutely. And so that's the outcome for the Patriots. Do you have anything else for the Patriots before we move on?
I do not have anything else on the Patriots. I think I do have a little bit more on the Rams. So.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. A Rams win on Sunday would mean a whole lot. And I'm just going to get started here because I'm ready to go.
Take it away.
Couple different stuff here. I just talked about Bill Belichick being the best football coach of all time. I know he's a defensive genius. If Sean McVay wins this Super Bowl in his second year, being how young he is, he just had his 33rd birthday on the 24th, he's going to solidify himself as the next offensive genius. We know Belichick's always been the defensive guy, and McVay's going to be the new offensive guy. And he's just getting started in his career, and if he's able to win a Super Bowl just like this, being able to lead a football team with so many different personalities that we haven't seen before, I think it means a whole lot to not just McVay, but the whole NFL, how you run football systems. And McVay, I'm going to get to his system in a little bit, but I think he will solidify himself as the future offensive genius of the league, and he's going to have a huge killer career. So I can't wait for that to get going because he's just getting started, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the things I got written down is this is just one of many for McVay. I think we're going to see him in at least one or two more Super Bowls, if not more. The guy just turned 34, 33.
33 or 34, around
one
there.
Of those. So this could just be the start for him. Definitely a lot on the line. Obviously, it's his first Super Bowl. But even if he loses here, expect to see him in a lot more. The guy's a genius. He's already... I kind of doubted his system, like I talked about earlier. I kind of doubted his system, but it's remarkable. The biggest thing for me for a Rams victory, and this is a question that we've talked about throughout the year. I don't know if we've talked about it too much on the show, but we've talked about it, and that McVay's system is so good. Do you really need a great quarterback in it? Because I've always felt that any NFL quarterback could be successful in his system.
Okay.
But I think with a win here, I think Goff gets a big payday in the offseason, and I think he gets an extension. I think they look at Goff as the future of this team.
100% I believe that. I believe you need a good quarterback, and Jared Goff's a very good quarterback. He was a number one pick out of college from Cal. He's a very good quarterback. So It's not like everyone's just thinking about his rookie year, how awful he was. He didn't have the right people around him. Upbringings and anybody. If you don't have the right people around you,
Fisher was the coach then, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the right people around you, you're just not going to succeed. But Jared Goff after that first year, he got new faces, new people telling him what to do. It's 100% the right people, and he's been able to kill it ever since. So he is absolutely a very good quarterback, and you need to have a very good quarterback to win Super Bowls, and that's what the Rams are going to be able to do with Jared Goff here. And before I get into a Jared Goff similarity here with Tom Brady in a sec, let's stay with the Sean McVay and Rams system, what they're doing here. We saw this offseason how they went out spending Les Snead. He wanted anybody he could get. And so they're getting big-time players, big-time names coming to their team on 1 to 2 year deals. And they're just going to go out there and perform for the 1 year, and then we'll see after the season, in the offseason, what we want to do with their contracts. They were able to get to leave the Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters. So they got those big-time players. They got Whitworth the year before that in Sean McVay's first year. So this is what big-time players, big-time personalities are going to want to do now. They want to go for a 1 to 2 year deal where they could get the most money they can but be able to win in a very good system. I believe that's what Le'Veon Bell's going to try and do now. Antonio Brown might want to do that.
Go long-term?
Maybe that's why Bell's holding out, but I think he's got to change to this is what it's going to be now if the Rams win. Big-time personalities, they don't really always play together, but that's what the Rams have done. They're bringing the diva players in together, and they're playing very well. So it's all because they have the right people at top. McVay's a great personality. He relates to all these players because he is so young, just like them. Some of the players are older than him. Tom Brady's way older than Sean McVay. But you just got to be relatable. Wade Phillips is a great teacher. So I know they got a lot of diva players, a lot of players that maybe they're about themselves, but they know this is a 1 year deal. We're going to go out there and win football games, possibly win a Super Bowl, and we're going to do it with the right people at the top in Sean McVay.
Yeah, that's quite the legacy one game has. Is I think people are going to look at this, and I was one of those doubters that this could be the new brand of the NFL, going out spending as much money as you can on the offseason, trying to bring in all these personalities and mesh them together. I think a lot of teams are going to struggle with it, though, because of the personality thing. You talked about it. It's because the Rams had the right people in place. Wade Phillips has been around a long time. He gets to those guys. Those guys respected him. Sean McVay, you could relate to these guys. A lot of people bought into him because of how well he relates with his players. And I think a lot of teams don't. There aren't a lot of guys like that. I know a lot of teams are going that approach already. We've already seen the impact with the
how many young offensive minds are trying to get jobs now.
Right, and I mean like Queensberry, we talked about that. Queensberry getting an NFL head coaching job. I mean, it's the route a lot of these guys are taking. A lot of these teams are taking now, and if it fails, it's not the Rams' fault at all. They had the right people in place. They did it right, and I think you're right. I think with a win here, it could prove that a lot of teams are going to say, we want to go that route. We want to take that approach.
And another thing that Sean McVay has done, as I think a lot of teams will do this now, is they are not going to play any of their star players in preseason games at all. None of the star players for the Rams played in a single snap in the preseason. That was the Sean McVay move. People are going to copycat that now because they see how much success they've had. And I know they've been kind of banged up, but they're still one of the more healthier teams for sure, just like the Patriots. So that's a big-time move. And I think the Rams have solidified themselves as a top brand in the NFL. They're more of a brand, and what I wanted to get to is they're letting their players just be people. They're not going to be under a system like the Patriots are. It's more of an NBA-style team that I feel is going on right now. You talked about how it's college basketball. I think it's like an NBA where the stars are the face of the league, and that's what the Rams are letting them do. It's not about the team right now. It's about how these players can be themselves, be stars, and they're having a lot of fun doing that. And I think that's Sean McVay, his style. He wants people to look at him. These players want people to look at themselves. And it's all about that NBA style right now that the Rams have carried over because it's an LA thing. The Rams are the biggest thing in LA right now. Used to be the Lakers and Dodgers for sure. Used to be USC. Now it's the Rams because everyone wants to go see Sean McVay and the stars perform on football. And it all comes back down to Jerry Jones letting the Rams leave St. Louis, go into LA because he knows that it's going to be in LA, that stars are going to come out. They're going to see just how big this fan can really take over in LA, and that's what it has been.
And I hope a win here. I hope their own fan base begins to realize that and buys into it. Because I do want to see LA get a more passionate football fan base.
Yeah.
And even basketball, obviously it's a lot of celebrities, a lot of stars. But like I know you've talked about Staples Center and how you get a little bit different experience from a fan's perspective.
Yeah.
So I do hope that it builds more of a fan base with a victory here. Regardless, I think that both these LA was blessed with football this year. I will say that. You look at the Chargers and the Rams, these are two teams that very well could have been playing each other in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Two teams that are very, very successful this year, so they are blessed. I hope their fan base begins to react to that.
And one more big thing for the Rams here. If Jared Goff goes out there, wins a Super Bowl in his third year, after being a bust his first year, 2 fantastic seasons after that, he's a setup for a huge payday, but so many similarities to Tom Brady right now. You know, Tom Brady, he got drafted very late, and then he was able to come in after Drew Bledsoe and really be the guy. Jared Goff, he was the number 1 pick, but awful first year.
Yeah.
After that, he's been phenomenal ever since. They're both Northern California dudes. They both are good-looking people, so there's so many similarities. Jared Goff, he plays the right way, just like Tom Brady. Not the strongest arm, but can make every throw that you need him to do. He never got overwhelmed in that Saints game. Jared Goff, I think, I'm not saying he's the next Brady, but in ways he will be. He's not going to win as much as Tom. He's not going to be the best of all time like Tom, but he's very similar to Tom Brady, and as of right now, he's having a better career at the point he has than Tom Brady ever did, and so Jared Goff is on the right track right now. He could be the next man, just like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and I think that's my biggest takeaway from a Rams victory is if they win, they prove to me that, especially Jared Goff, proves to me that Jared Goff's their guy moving forward. I've been saying it all year. I don't necessarily think you need an elite quarterback in the Rams system to win because I think McVay is that smart of an offensive coach. But I see the relationship him and Goff have. And if they could do it to pull off a Super Bowl run in only their second year together, that's pretty remarkable. And I think it could lead to a huge payday and an extension for him.
Absolutely. So those are huge impacts for both the Patriots and the Rams if they win the Super Bowl on Sunday. Probably a little bit more for the Rams here for the entire league, but we know how impactful this would be for New England and the Patriots, of course. So huge stuff there. Either way, we'll see on Sunday how this game turns out. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, a lot on the line. Big-time game Sunday. But stay tuned. We are hitting a break right now, but we got more on the football, more on the Super Bowl game on Sunday. We got more coming up for you on the prop bet side. Lots of stuff going on outside of the football world. So we're going to talk about that a little bit and give you our predictions for some of the craziest and most interesting prop bets. So stay tuned.